Orlando's housing market is collapsing with a 19.4% home purchase contract cancellation rate, the highest in the nation. That means nearly 1 in 5 deals is falling apart before the keys even change hands. Buyers are backing out, sellers are slashing prices, and the dream of homeownership is slipping away for countless families. It's not just a slowdown, it's a full-blown crisis. Experts are pointing to sky-high interest rates, soaring insurance costs, and a wave of uncertainty that's making people think twice. But for those caught in the middle, it's more than just numbers. It's their future hanging in the balance. You know, it's one of those charts that makes you do a double take. The line starts off steady, just a little bump here and there, but then, whoosh, it shoots straight up like a rocket. We're talking about insurance premiums, and by the time you hit the latest data point, it's sitting pretty at over $7,500 a year. That's not a typo. $7,500. And it's not like this happened overnight. Year after year, the costs kept climbing. But lately, it's like someone hit the gas pedal and forgot to let go. You look at the numbers, and you can't help but wonder how folks are supposed to keep up. It's not just a little pinch, it's a full-on squeeze. And the worst part? There's no sign of it slowing down. The numbers don't lie. Just a year ago, you could lock in a mortgage rate under 4%. But now, the chart tells the story, a steep climb, nearly straight up, hitting 7%. That's not just a bump, it's a wall. For a family looking at a $300,000 home, the difference is hundreds more a month. Hundreds. And that's if you can even qualify now. Thousands of buyers who were ready to sign are suddenly sidelined, watching their dreams slip further out of reach. The market's shifting fast, and for too many, the door to homeownership just slammed shut. The market's shifting fast. Condo listings are flooding in, up a staggering 80% from just last year. It's like someone flipped a switch. Where there used to be a handful of options, now there are pages and pages of units sitting empty, waiting. Prices are dipping, sellers are getting nervous, and buyers? Well, they've got the upper hand now. Walk through any neighborhood and you'll see the signs, literally. For sale posters are popping up like weeds, and open houses aren't just on weekends anymore. It's a buyer's paradise, but for sellers, it's a whole new game. The question is, will this wave keep rising, or is it about to crash? Let me tell you about Sarah, a first-time home seller in Austin. She'd listed her charming bungalow for $425,000, confident it was priced right for the neighborhood. Then the appraisal came in at $400,000, leaving a $25,000 gap between what the buyer's lender would finance and the agreed-upon price. Sarah panicked. She'd already moved into her new place and couldn't afford to lower the price. The buyer, a young couple, loved the house but couldn't cover the gap out of pocket. Their agent suggested splitting the difference, but Sarah wasn't sure that was fair. She countered by offering to cover half the gap if the buyer would meet her in the middle. Negotiations got tense. The buyer's agent argued the appraisal was solid, while Sarah's agent pointed to recent comps that supported the higher price. In the end, Sarah agreed to drop the price by $15,000, and the buyer covered the remaining $10,000. It wasn't ideal, but it kept the deal alive. The lesson? Appraisal gaps happen, but flexibility and creative problem-solving can save the sale. Sarah walked away relieved, even if her profit took a hit. The buyers got their dream home and everyone moved forward, just a little lighter in the wallet. So let's talk about what this actually looks like for families. Picture this. You've got a graph in front of you, and the line isn't just dipping, it's taking a nosedive. We're seeing homeowners who, just a couple of years ago, thought they were sitting pretty with solid equity in their homes. Now, that equity's vanished. And I'm not talking about a few $1,000s here and there. Some folks are staring at a $60,000 hole where their savings used to be. That's a new car, a kid's college fund, or even a chunk of retirement. Just gone. It's not just numbers on a page. It's real money that families were counting on, and now they're scrambling to figure out what's next. So, here's the thing. Buyers were lining up, checks in hand, ready to snag their dream homes. Then the market froze, just like that. And suddenly, those deposits, they're gone. Poof, vanished into thin air. Take Sarah, for example. She found the perfect place. Great neighborhood, just the right size. Even had that little backyard she'd been dreaming of. She put down a hefty deposit, thinking it was a done deal. But then the market locked up, financing fell through, and the seller wasn't budging. No sale, no refund. Sarah's out thousands, and she's not alone. Then there's Mark and Lisa. They were so close to closing on their first home together. They'd already picked out paint colors, measured for furniture. But when the freeze hit, their lender backed out. The seller kept their deposit, and now they're stuck starting from scratch with a lot less in their savings. It's brutal out there. Buyers are learning the hard way that in a frozen market, deposits don't always mean security. They can just mean money down the drain. You know, it's not just one state seeing this shift. It's happening across the Southwest. Take Texas, for example. Over the past few years, we've seen a steady rise in urban migration, with folks moving from the cities to smaller towns, looking for more space and a lower cost of living. But here's the thing. Those smaller towns aren't staying small for long. They're growing fast, and with that growth comes new challenges. Housing shortages, strained infrastructure, you name it. Now look just a little farther west to Arizona, and you'll see the same pattern playing out. Phoenix has been booming for years, but now even places like Prescott and Flagstaff are feeling the pressure. More people mean more demand for everything: water, schools, jobs. And just like in Texas, the local governments are scrambling to keep up. It's like watching the same story unfold in two different states, but with the same ending. Growth is changing the landscape, and not everyone's ready for it. What's really interesting is how these trends are starting to blur the lines between the two states. The issues aren't confined to one side of the border anymore. Water rights, housing markets, even traffic patterns, it's all connected. And if you ask me, that's the real takeaway here. This isn't just about Texas or Arizona anymore. It's about a region transforming right before our eyes. All right, let's tackle this crisis head on. Here are 3 solid ways we can turn things around. First up, we could streamline operations by cutting redundant processes. For example, if we notice that 2 teams are doing the same data checks, we merge them into one. That way, we save time, reduce errors, and free up resources for more critical tasks. Next, we could invest in better training for the team. Say we've got a bunch of new hires struggling with the software. We bring in an expert for a hands-on workshop. A little upfront effort now means fewer mistakes and smoother workflows down the line. Lastly, we could bring in temporary support to ease the load. If the team's drowning in backlog, we hire a few contractors to handle the overflow. It's a quick fix, but it buys us time to implement those longer-term solutions without burning everyone out. Any of these could work, depending on what's causing the biggest headache right now. So here's the hard truth. What happened in Orlando wasn't just bad luck. It was a warning, a flashing red signal that markets can't afford to ignore. The cracks were there long before the collapse, but no one wanted to see them. Now the damage is done, and the fallout is spreading. But it doesn't have to be this way. Other markets still have a chance to step back, take a hard look at their own vulnerabilities, and act before it's too late. This isn't about pointing fingers. It's about learning. Tighten oversight, demand transparency, and stop pretending that growth alone is enough. Because if you don't, you're not just risking your investments, you're risking everything. The time to move isn't tomorrow. It's right now. Before the next crisis hits, before it's your turn to explain what went wrong. The situation is clear. Markets that haven't been hit yet need to act now. We've seen how quickly things can spiral when preventive measures aren't in place. The data doesn't lie. Early intervention is the difference between containment and chaos. Other regions have the advantage of time, but only if they use it wisely. This isn't about waiting to see what happens. It's about preparing for what's coming. The cost of inaction is far greater than the cost of preparation. So the message is simple. Don't wait for the storm to hit before boarding up the windows. The time to act is right now before it's too late.